right, Sistas fans, we are here to talk Season 5, Episode 21 of Vicious Cycle. Not gonna lie, I actually kind of like the episode, and I'm going to give it a score of a 6 out of 10. Probably the highest score I've given an episode in quite some time. So to start the review off, what I'll do is I'll list the positives. The positives of the episode. And go from there. So, some of my favorite parts when Preston called out Q for being, another one. Pam giving her play-by-play of Jennifer and Aaron's or John's parking lot brawl. The visuals during the three-way phone call between the sisters, Sans, Danny, it was Andy, Sabrina, and Karen. I don't know. I'm a sucker for visuals like that. So I did like the split screen where we see, two of the girls talking at once and then they kind of switched over. I like that. I like that. Even though I was completely fine with Maurice being in jail because this was his fault, I did like the moment where he got out. It was, a fun little scene where it's like, okay, we see the characters happy for a moment, but then that kind of gets negated by Maurice's attitude at the apartment. When Sabrina actually put her foot down and was stern with Maurice about apologizing to Calvin, Heather having a moment to calm down when she, was going off on Fatima about playing games by getting Hayden to drop her case, and Fatima getting her to agree to talk with Zach about a reasonable child support agreement, and just how good Heather looks about that green wig on. She is beautiful. And then the final thing, even though it wasn't the final moments of the episode, Zach putting Fatima's ass in the hot seat to humble her arrogant self. I mean, literally, when she went to the break room, we ain't agreed to this. What about Joey and your son? So beautiful. After an entire season of her just going off on Zach, chastising him like a child, talking and treating him any way that she wants, putting him on the couch. She can't even look him in the damn eye. All right. But yeah, I did enjoy the episode. Why didn't I watch it live? Long story short. Yesterday we had like a 5-hour power outage. Yeah, it sucked. From 10 o'clock or 10:30 to almost 3 o'clock. No power. That set me back on a lot of work. On top of that, the Dish Network receiver is crap. So due to the outage, I think there was some wind damage or something, because I called and 55 other customers were dealing with power outages as well. So it was a windy day. I think maybe a branch or something fell on the line. But long story short, the receiver, I think, got damaged due to the outage, and it took a lot of time for them to fix it, and it wasn't fixed until after 9 o'clock. So there's that. And I think my YouTube Live is still not working, so it really sucks. Hopefully it's fixed next week because of the finale, but we shall see. So it sucked not watching live, but basically before I even watched the episode, a lot of people said it was boring. Yeah, for the most part, it wasn't boring, but it really didn't give me much to work with. I think maybe aside from a little bit here and there, I wouldn't say it's skippable, but you can get the play-by-play in 2 minutes and that'll be it. So, Joey tells Zach he and Fatima have a 9-year-old son, but she didn't want the kid, so she bounced. Joey and their son live in DC, and the reason he's come to talk to Fatima is due to the fact that their son is asking a lot of questions about his mom. And Zach actually handled this a lot better than I thought. He does reveal hey, I'm her fiance, and you can tell Joey's like, oh wow, man, I didn't mean to just drop this on you like that, but I'll go. And Zach understandably is like, no man, I mean, you kind of just came by to dropped a bomb on me, so you telling me my fiance was holding back something very important like this? I gotta know what's going on. But basically, it gets to the point where Joey says, hey, can you get Fatima to call me and try to work something out? And Zach tries to get his phone number, but he doesn't get it. Joey just bounces. So from there, we go over to the airport. And Preston comes up to Danny's station to talk, and basically it's to let her know that Mindy is actually coming to visit him in Atlanta, which doesn't make a lot of sense because Preston was supposed to go back home. Didn't he tell Danny, hey, can we talk tomorrow? And then after we talk, I'm going back. And they didn't talk that morning because she was with Q. And then I think they said they would talk later in the day, but for him to just randomly pop up at the airport. But then Danny does call him, did you get her to come off at this gate on purpose because you knew I would be here? No, that's not it. But he does say, well, hey, do you want to meet her because, you think she's not real? But part of me is like, Preston, what are you doing, bro? But in the midst of their conversation, Q pops up. Is this guy bothering you? And it's like, Q, this is, bro, just no. But Preston's like, wait a minute, who's he? And then Preston kind of looks him up and down. Oh, another one. And Danny's like, what you say? Nothing. Huh? Nothing. Yeah, like I thought. And then before he steps away, Danny's like, Preston, don't bring that girl around here. All right. And then he just leaves. Preston, this should be your final scene. I know you're in season 6, but this should have been your final scene. Call her out. I loved it. Danny basically had that Andy attitude when somebody rightfully calls her ass out. Because what? He's seen you with that bartender from the Pride Bar that you slept with. He's seen El Fuego, the stripper you slept with. I don't think he's met Logan. I know that there were times where he would call Danny to meet up, but it's like, no, I have a date, referencing Logan. And obviously, if he had come over to the house, he would have caught Q there. But, he could just look and be like, yeah, this your kind of dude. So another one. So he just bounces. Trinity, this should have been your last scene. This would have made up for all the shit that I said over the past, season about you in regards to randomly proposing. And it's like, bro, you really want to be with this girl? Nah. Yeah, this was the perfect mic drop moment. That would have been cool. But, Danny chews out Q in regards to like, you screwed over my friends and put them in jail. Basically telling him to fuck off. And then, Q can't believe it. Wow. So, he leaves. And after I think she even asked if Logan helped him get a job there because she's trying to figure this out, but she wants nothing to do with his slimy ass. But Danny, this is what you get. And I don't mean to quote Andy, but this is what you get for sleeping with strays. And later on, we go over to the law firm. Gary and Hayden, I think this is picking up from them leaving Robin's office. And Gary says he'll be back at 4:59. Hayden's like, he can't get that money in time. You saw a look in his eyes. We got his ass. So, Heather actually comes in as Gary's leaving. And then, Gary's like, wait, Hayden, you still on this Zach's thing? Yeah, you know what? Do you? I'll see you later this afternoon. So Heather mentions how she's been ignoring Zach's phone calls. And, the one time that she did answer, Zach's like, hey, I want to talk. And, hey, I guess Heather was just saying, hey, oh yeah, talk to my lawyer. So they decided to go to their office to talk things out. And the thing about it is, Fatima sees him and it's like, oh, hell no. So Fatima calls Tamara, and then Tamara says, don't worry, I'm on it. I'm going to get him to drop this case. No problem. And then Zach calls her. Obviously, he's been, trying to get in touch with her since Joey left the house. And he says he's coming over there ASAP. He said, look, hey, I haven't talked to Karen yet, but I need to talk to you. So he gets down to the law firm to talk with Fatima. And then he's going to see Karen. Now, over at the jail, and this was one of the scenes I think there were like two. Yeah, I didn't really like this scene. We have at least I could be wrong, but it felt like just a 5-minute waste of time. I got the episode on mute and I'm scrolling through it. What was it? It was a good like 3 to 4 minutes. Calvin and Sabrina waiting for Maurice to get out. And this guy, do we have to deal with this every freaking episode? You know how Calvin was talking shit in the promo, like maybe your African's check didn't clear. He's just throwing shade. Number one, this is not the time for this. He's trying to do a DTR because he's just pouty and whiny and crap. And Sabrina tries to tell him that, yeah, it cleared. How do you know he legit? How do you know he didn't get that money through illegal means and this, that, and the third? And then she reveals he's a prince. Oh, you got some Eddie Murphy coming to America shit now. Oh, yeah, right. Wait, you're not lying? Wow, now I really don't have a chance. To be honest, even though I'm not the biggest Sabrina fan, I think Calvin is shit for this because now he's implying that Sabrina only is a gold digger. That's honestly what he's implying. And I don't like that. No, I don't like the fact that she asked for the money. And you could argue that Calvin could be right about Bio doing illegal stuff. I mean, and I say we as the fan base, we've been thinking the whole child trafficking thing that Logan's been trying to stop. Maybe Bio's been a part of that this whole time. But it's the way Calvin is saying this is we know it's due to jealousy. And he's trying to do a DTR. It's like, wait, so where does that leave us? Y'all aren't together. He's like, well, I spent the night. That don't mean shit. So what about you and Peggy? Sabrina saw you come out of your bedroom with Peggy naked. The hours or the same morning after you two were in Sabrina's bed. And even though Sabrina didn't say I love you back, nor did she want to be in a relationship, Calvin said, hey, how about this? Before we decide to see other people, we check in with the other person and let them know. And then I believe this was the same day the bank got robbed. So Sabrina and Maurice got off of work early and they went back to the apartment. And then, you and Peggy came out of the bedroom. Shut the hell up, Calvin. Seriously, I'm like this. I get it. You got to fill in the runtime, but there could have been a million other things to talk about other than this. It's sad. It really is. All right, so Maurice gets out and, he's excited. Sabrina's happy. I did like this moment, but then damn, man. You going to do Calvin like that? I still don't like Calvin's ass for, the whole whining thing, but he doesn't want to see Calvin. He wants to see his African prince. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if somebody got me out, I would want to thank them in person too. But in any case, they go back to the apartment. And you know what? I think I'm just going to skip ahead. Well, honestly, no, I won't skip ahead yet. All right. So, Hayden is working out a game plan with Heather. Basically, you call Zach to set up a meeting. I'll show up to make sure nothing shady's going down to, work things out because you can take half his shit, Heather just wants the money. But in any case, Tamara comes in. I think Linda is the name of the front desk clerk. She makes a few appearances in this episode. Remember, she was the one who gave Andy the flowers from Paris, and then Andy gave them to her. But yeah, she says there's a Tamara coming in. So basically, Heather is asked to step out to make that call to Zach, and Tamara comes in the office, and she pretty much goes off because apparently her ex used to have sex with coworkers, and as a result, that's why she's acting all jealous towards Hayden. But he makes it clear, look, that's a client. And Tamara does back off. You know what? I'm coming in here all jealous and everything. This is your job, and you just put it on me. I just don't want you to give it to anyone else. So if you don't want to give her over to a colleague, I understand. That's on me. So Heather is dropped because Hayden's like, you know what? Hey, if it'll make you happy, I will drop her. So Heather comes back in and she is just mad that she got dropped like a bad habit. And Tamara, and Hayden agree to see each other later that night. So Heather goes into Fatima's office. She just storms in there. Fatima's like, I didn't tell you to come in here, and I didn't say you could sit down either. So basically Heather's pissed off because she thinks Fatima is doing something foul that caused Hayden to drop her. And I did like this scene because Fatima kept it, pretty professional. Look, you're going through all these legal, routes and whatnot to take Zach for all this money, but it's going to take a long time to get that resolved, meaning that you won't get any money for a long time. Have you sat down with Zach to try to work things out? Would he? Have you tried? Well, no. Well, Zach is a reasonable guy, and I know he'll take care of his kids, so why don't you come over to the house tonight? I will text you a time, and we can, hey. And I do, my favorite part, you think I should do it? Look, it's not about what I think. You need to do what's best for you, but I just feel like, it would be a smarter thing to just talk with Zach to work things out as opposed to, doing what you're doing right now. And I'm like, that would be so cool. Like if they did a legit DNA test and then from there work out a fair child support plan. Enough said. All right. Now, the three-way call happens. First, Karen calls Andy, and then Sabrina joins into the call, and they talk about how they need to have a sisters meeting due to the whole thing with Danny and Q. And it's brought up again that Danny does this stuff. She did it in college, and apparently the reasoning is, yeah, whenever Danny gets worried about something, she does this. So she basically just whores herself around when she's worried about something. When she was worried about final exams, did she just sleep with 5 random guys? I'm not trying to shame Danny. It's just that I'm trying to understand the thought process here. Is her being worried about not being able to handle a good guy like Preston the thing that's causing her to sleep around? Based on her behavior when Sabrina confronted her last week, I'm not ready to be married. I'm still young. I want to... because she doesn't want to get married right now to Preston. She wants to just sleep around. Prime example of the kind of woman that just wants to be out in these streets, and then when she's ready to settle down, she'll settle with the sweet guy she stepped over in order to be with Chad and Tyrone. She ain't wife material, and I wish Preston would stop trying to make her that way. So they agree to meet up later that day. And I think that is it for that. Gary's brought over to Andy's office, and he's all touchy-feely. And it's funny when Andy catches his ass looking out of the window, because I'm honestly surprised she was cool with him, hugging him and everything. I mean, him hugging her and whatnot that way, because they're at work and her office has glass windows and stuff. But basically, she knows he's doing this to put on a show in front of Robin, who isn't even there at the moment. Then she's like, I don't want to be part of your games. And I'm like, Andy, you play more games than the freaking NFL. What the hell are you talking about? Basically, she doesn't want to be part of the games unless she's the one who's the, game master, if you will. But he just says, hey, can we have dinner tonight? And it's like, look, we're in a good place, but you're really making me mad. Okay, fine. Well, hey, I'm coming back here later today, but it's not about you. It's about business. So they agree to meet up later that night. And she will let him know, which we all know means a yes, because this is Andy we're talking about here. She's very predictable. Okay, so over at... yeah, we're almost done here. I think I should just skip ahead to the very end. So Fatima gets told by Linda that Zach is here for her in the break room. And Fatima comes in, no, we didn't agree to this. What's this? And Zach shut this shit down. Do I know everything about your life? Yeah, you do. Joe and your son. Mic drop. That's the end of the episode. That's honestly all I gotta say here. I do wish Zach would have waited, though. Look, couple things. I don't think discussing this at her job was the best move. I think it would have been cool if he would have held this shit the same way she did with that damn photo. Because, oh man, that would have been great. If she would have come in the house. Well, Zach, you talk with Karen. The Heather thing's been settled. She's coming over later tonight to talk. So, if that goes well, you don't have to be on the couch tonight. Oh, speaking of the couch. I think I need to. Okay, never mind. Let me jump back. So, over at the apartment. The stupid trio, Sabrina, Calvin, and Maurice get back. Calvin and Maurice or Calvin and Sabrina are like, what the? Maurice is on cloud nine. He's just happy to be home. He goes to sit on that couch and he falls on the floor. The whole place has been jacked. It was the equivalent of the finale of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where Will Smith is just looking around at an empty house. I don't know when. I did a separate video. That was the first video I recorded today. I have no idea when Q could have done this. Yes, there have been, I think last night, Calvin stayed at Sabrina's, I believe. Q was at Danny's. And I'm trying to figure out, like, when did he do this? Yes, I recall when Calvin got home and, Q was just having a drug party, just bums and crackheads were, taking stuff. But there was still the couch and a number of other things. But when they get home from the jail, all the dresser drawers and shelves are pulled out, empty. Couch is gone. Everything. I don't know when he did it. I don't. We just know that there are nights when he's staying outside of the apartment in the car, Maurice's car, because of his ankle monitor. But I don't know when he did this. Maybe he knew that, okay, Calvin isn't here because I don't see his car, so we're going to, jack their shit. I don't know when this happened. But in any case, the thing to talk about here. Maurice goes off, and I'm like, your ass should have just been kept in jail. He pulled a sister right here where he just refuses to acknowledge any responsibility in this. I'm not saying Calvin is clean, but this man or this queen, however Maurice identifies himself, he had the nerve to go, this is 100% on you. How? How is this 100% Calvin's fault? I'm not saying he's completely innocent. I'm not saying it's one. He has some of the blame, but this is mainly due to Maurice. Let's go back, shall we? Calvin had moved in. Him and Maurice are now roommates. One of Maurice's, I think, ex's named Bootsy brought Q there. They were in the spare room, which they thought was still a spare room, but it was actually Calvin's room. Bootsy and Q got it on because Maurice came back home and thought Calvin was, getting on with another man, but he wasn't. Turns out it was Q and Bootsy. And then Q stole Calvin's checkbooks and whatnot. And then from there screwed over his finances, which led to the whole getting knocked out by Jacoby and twirling thing. Then, after meeting Q at the Pride Bar and whatnot, Maurice actually, I believe, took him home once, if I'm not mistaken. And Calvin was like, yo, you got the guy that robbed me back in this apartment. This is some bullshit. And Q kind of stayed there for a little while. He would pop up, every now and then. Then it got to the point where the robbery took place. Because remember, Q was, messing around Maurice because eventually it was to rob the bank. So then Q gets arrested. Then I think at the beginning of season 4, that's when he started calling. Oh yeah, because if I remember correctly, Q popped up at the apartment all remorseful and crap. And then they did call the cops and he got arrested. Okay, yeah, I was in late season 3. So then that's when Q starts blowing up Maurice's phone from the jail. And then says I put your house down as a reference from where I'll be staying when I get out on my plea deal. And instead of calling the police station in order to say, look, I don't know what kind of operation y'all are, running down there, but this man Q, he can't stay in my crib. He was the one that robbed the bank. He pointed a gun at me. No, he is not allowed on my, at my apartment or around. Look, I want a restraining order. This guy is to be nowhere around me or my apartment. And then for the first several episodes of season 4, it's the same thing every episode. Q calls, Maurice answers. I'm coming over to your place. No, you're not. And then he does. And then he shows up at the bank twice. And then he's allowed to stay there. And then, Calvin's like, he's like, nah, man, you're a criminal. Hey, I let your man in, Maurice. He was just sitting on there looking like a stray cat on the porch, so I let him in. Hey, you know what? After hearing Q's story, I'm fine with him staying here. And then after that whole thing where his head was on Q's crotch, yo, man, you pulling something. And then Maurice, yeah, I don't like this. You're a whole damn season of being stupid. And then, you know what? I think you're up to something, Q. And then, of course, Maurice got his ass arrested. And then Calvin, instead of calling the police on Q, he gets his ass whooped because Chris, the guy from the gay bar, he's like, hey, why don't you call the cops on Q? Nah, man, that's some white shit. And then Q got to the point, you can't call the police and kick me out because your name isn't on the lease either. Even though there are a number of different crimes that Calvin could have called Q on, or called the cops on Q for, and he would have got arrested, but he didn't. And then all of a sudden, he takes the golf club and tries to beat a confession out of him. Yeah, Calvin has some responsibility, but not 100%. Maurice was out of pocket, and I hated his ass for it. He's like, what'd you do? You're a man, Calvin. You should have done something. Oh, what did you do? Twirl again? And then, Calvin, I admit, Calvin's like, nah, man, you ain't putting this on me. It's like, what? Were we about to see a Calvin and Maurice fight? And if they were to fight, I think Maurice would probably win. I think Maurice would probably win. But in any case, Calvin decides to go for it. It's like, I should have never let you move in here. Calvin should have moved in season 3. Like, the moment that Maurice let Q back into the apartment after the whole, he robbed me of my checkbooks and everything, that's when Calvin should have packed up his shit and left. So, in any case, Calvin leaves, and then Sabrina tells him about himself, about how he nearly killed Q when he beat his ass with a golf club. For you. I've had to ask favors from people and friends, millions of dollars to get us out of jail. You're the one who was messing around with him when I told you not to. And it's like, no, you're going to listen. I like this. Even though, Maurice still was mouthing off, I like the fact that Sabrina did step to him like that. Basically, it's like, you need to start looking at yourself, and you need to fix this. Well, I'll try harder. Start by apologizing to Calvin. So from there, she mentions the whole thing about working at the airport. Wait, Danny got him a job? No, Danny wouldn't do that. I mean, not to mention she can't. So in any case, she does finish things off about saying how Q has his car now. So we go over to the salon. Aaron and Karen go in the office, and it's a weird transition here because Aaron comes in. I got your lunch. Oh, thank you. Even though in the last episode, Aaron came in with the lunch, so she's fully aware that he brought her lunch. I think that he said, oh, I'm going to the truck to get the forks for the food. So they sit down and start to eat. And she's like, thank you. Oh, for what? You already thanked me for the lunch. No, for being a good guy. Because, he's kind of, stern. Like, look, hey, because she didn't drink that smoothie because originally said, I'm not having breakfast. I'm nauseous. I'll grab a smoothie on my way to work. Then it turns out she didn't have the smoothie because it's like, I feel better. But he gets on it like, no, you need to make sure you're eating now. And then as they're about to start, Pam comes in to let Aaron know what Jennifer's here. And here she goes being all nosy. Who's Jennifer? And I'm thinking the first instinct, like, damn, first of all, how did she know he was here? And what does she want to talk about? So Pam is just, wanting to go outside or just to see what's going on. So instead of finishing her lunch, Karen decides to go right back to work. And honestly, I'm surprised Aaron's like, no, you're not going back to work. You go eat this food and then you go finish up. And then he's like, no, I have another customer. So Aaron steps outside because Jennifer is waiting for him at the front. So they go outside to talk. Pam wants to know. This was funny. Pam's giving a play-by-play. Girl, don't you want to know what's going on? It's getting tense out there. Oh, just slapped the taste out of his mouth. And then, Karen's like, nope, I don't want to know. It's like, why did you do this to me? Look, you need to leave right now. Stop calling me John. Look, you leave. Pop! And then Karen's like, you know what? I'll finally go out there. And the scene stops. I'm like, damn, I don't care about the Fatima crap. I want to see what goes on. We got to wait till next week, though. And that's the episode, because I already talked about the... Oh, wait. No, I didn't. Okay, so... Yeah, I talked about the mic drop moment. Oh, yeah. Fatima does tell Linda to find Tamara's application and get rid of it. So, Fatima wants to make sure Tamara doesn't get that secretary job at the law firm. So overall, yeah, I did have a good time with the episode. I did have issues with it, but it was still good. One of the better episodes of the season. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.